Chapter 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was said to be half an hour. In fact, it didn't take that long at all. After the 13 dishes were cooked and brought to her bedroom in the Tianxiang palace, it was still not time. In this way, this dog man arrived at every meal time. He prepared everything in advance and even calculated the time on the way. So precise. Aren't you going to eat yet? Not to your liking. Are you hungry? Qinglian came back to her senses and shook her head. I was wondering where Xiaobing went. Why is this girl gone today? Chu Ning was also confused. Yes, she usually squatted at the stove to help you test the poison at meal time, but in fact she was eating secretly. Qinglian didn't care. She has a good personality, not as bad as you said. Besides, I can't finish all the dishes you made by myself, and it's not good to waste the rest. After all, it was his intention. Seeing that Xiaobing was not coming, Chu Ning smiled and stood up, helped Qinglian to fill the soup, and landed just half a step away from Qinglian. The woman narrowed her eyes slightly. This time she noticed it. But since you have worked so hard, I will not expose you. She did not move, and took it naturally. I heard from Xiaobing that the emperor is going to be elected, and the world will be announced. Qinglian nodded and said calmly, you don't have to worry about these things, just wait for the ceremony in the palace. But the same thing, even if you become the emperor, you still sleep in the side hall, and it is impossible to move in. Chu Ning sighed, a little disappointed. It's not okay even after getting married. Then are we still husband and wife? Even if you get married in the folk, the husband will take the initiative to separate the rooms after the woman becomes pregnant. Don't you know? We don't separate the rooms in our hometown. It seems that there is no problem after 3 months. Crack. The chopsticks were broken instantly. Qinglian glared at him with shame and anger. No problem. No problem with anything. You bastard, dare you say that? Even if you cook this table of food today, I will beat you. Chu Ning certainly didn't dare to say it, otherwise, he would really get beaten. He took the broken chopsticks with a smile and handed over a new pair. I didn't say what to do. It's Qinglian you who thinks too much. Huh, all men in the world are the same, so don't even think about it, Qinglian emphasized. You and I are just husband and wife because of that accident, but we are only husband and wife on the surface. As for other things, even more excessive, you dare to think of one and try. Chu Ning nodded and laughed. It's okay, we can just separate the rooms, it's all for raising the baby anyway. Hee, it's impossible after the dragon son is born. Ah. This is a bit too much. Then if you want to have another child in the future, do you have to wait until the next July 15th? If you don't want to eat, go back to the palace. July 15th. You are quite good at seizing opportunities. A mere mortal fell into a coma in just 1 day, and Chu Ning was completely squeezed dry in half a month. I heard that someone was lying outside the palace for 3 months and couldn't get out of bed. He was still thinking about this kind of thing. People are greedy, and at that time, she couldn't control herself at all. Even if Xiaobing came, she would eat her alive. So, the two of them were just an accident. Okay, I won't say it anymore. Chu Ning smiled and turned the page. His wife is good in everything, but she is too impulsive and irritable. It's okay to be gentle. Qinglian snorted coldly, stopped talking, and continued to concentrate on eating. Qinglian. What's the matter? Just say it if you have something to say, and fart if you have something to say. As the emperor. My world. That's my wife too. Sure enough, he said it. She was right. Chu Ning asked curiously, how are the matters in the court considered? In fact, the political system I gave you is really good. This way you can be more relaxed. After all, when the baby is a few months older, I'm afraid it will be troublesome for you to go to court. If you set it up earlier, you will have a high level of cultivation and can control it. You can even delegate power to the cabinet in a short period of time and let the cabinet make its own judgments. It would be better if there are trustworthy old ministers in the court. Qinglian put down the bowl and chopsticks, looking at him coldly. It seems that you know a lot about these. You can guess this. Chu Ning was stunned and a little surprised. Really? Yes, the prime minister of the previous dynasty. She sneered in her heart, you've exposed yourself, you even know my prime minister. I'm afraid you've already planned for me to take over after I abdicate. After all, how could that political system be thought up by ordinary people? The Ming dynasty's Zhangjiuzhengs is just a cover to hide your own talents and ambitions. Chu Ning understood and nodded. Well, that can be used, but it will be troublesome if you just give up power blindly. If you really don't have the energy at that time, especially in the postpartum weakness period, you can't handle any government affairs. She smiled like a flower, with a little coldness. Just let you come and rule as an emperor. Chu Ning shook his head, there is no need. If power is given to me, it will inevitably cause unrest in the court and easily lead to party disputes. You really think I will give it to you? How is it possible? Chu Ning smiled and said the solution. The imperial power and the prime minister are actually two extremes, one represents the supreme imperial power, and the other represents the ministers of the world. If there is a vacancy, it will be troublesome once the prime minister wants to dominate alone, especially when the new cabinet is established. At this time, you can separate the prime minister, or even separate the cabinet, let the 6 officials and the cabinet fight, give them power, let the two sides compete against each other, and develop party struggles. Qinglian was stunned and puzzled. Why do we need party struggles? Isn't this chaos? As a lover of history and literature, Chu Ning directly pointed out the key. The power of the cabinet is the most powerful in your political institutions. It is the only one under the imperial power, so it will dominate. But if you give the power to the 6 ministries, they will have the capital to fight with the cabinet. The fighting of officials will lead to internal consumption, making it impossible for them to monopolize power. They can only calculate with each other and then give countermeasures, and then let them continue to innovate internally and produce stronger talents. Once they want to fight, they must show their trump cards. The more you know, the more handles they have, and the easier it is to control. Whoever jumps up at that time, they will be kicked out directly with an imperial edict. You are the biggest controller of the imperial power, controlling the entire court, and then controlling the whole world. After hearing this, Qinglian's heart was in turmoil again. If Chu Ning was talking nonsense, she would just treat it as a joke, but she has controlled the imperial power for nearly 100 years, how can she not know what the effect of this method will be? For officials, her image is more terrifying and majestic, and for her, it is to manipulate a more powerful political machine. This person, is he so scheming? Qinglian raised her head and squinted at Chu Ning. Oh. Are these all your ideas? No, I told you that there was a man named Jiajing in the Ming dynasty who didn't attend court for 20 years. But this man loved to practice, but he couldn't practice. But you are the one who succeeded in practice, and you are better than him. Qinglian was half believing and half doubting. Why are you telling me all this? Are you showing off your talents? Do you want to serve as an official in the court, or do you plan to rule on my behalf? Chu Ning looked at a loss. Isn't this considering that it will be inconvenient for you to go to court in the future? Besides, what's the point of serving as an official in the court, fame or profit? I'm already eating such a big bowl of soft rice, what do I want? And why should I rule on your behalf? I'm not good at this. Qinglian's face was as calm as water, without any ripples. Chu Ning, let's not talk about other things for now, but you can't participate in the regency of the dynasty. I can let you practice, I can give you wealth and glory, including everything you can want, but the country is the country passed down by the Yi family, and I will not give it to others. Even if you have such an idea, you should get rid of it as soon as possible. Chu Ning was confused. So I provided you with this information, and you still suspected that I was plotting against your country? Isn't it? Chu Ning was silent for a while, and his face gradually calmed down. Self-protection, lack of trust. Yes, he has only been in the palace for 3 days, and this is only the 3rd day. It seems that if you intervene too much, you may indeed be suspected. He smiled bitterly. In fact, I just said it casually that day. After all, it is a political system for reference. If you don't ask. Chu Ning paused and didn't continue. But it seems that you won't believe these words. Well, you eat first. I'm going to rest, I'm a little tired. He immediately put down his bowl and chopsticks, stood up, pushed the door and left. Why did he leave? In an instant, the figure in front of him seemed to have opened more than just a door. It was as if the two of them were also pulled apart. Qinglian frowned tightly. She was not happy because of exposing Chu Ning's truth, nor did she see what he wanted to see. Instead, she felt a kind of loss. This didn't seem to be what she wanted to see. Outside the door, Xiao Bing came running over, and immediately apologized after seeing Chu Ning. Mr. Chu, I went to practice in seclusion today, and forgot to call you. No problem. The figure was getting farther and farther away, and Xiao Bing was also confused, but she still told Qinglian the good news. The girl said excitedly, Your Majesty, I have broken through the late stage of the 4th realm. I don't know why I have been practicing so fast recently. Your Majesty is already eating. I thought it would be later. Mr. Chu won't eat together. Qinglian's eyes were slightly downcast. He has eaten, you should eat too. Xiao Bing seemed to have noticed something and felt that the two were in a bad mood. What's going on? Author P.S. The progress will not be slow. It is normal for the Empress to be vigilant. The next chapter will be the transition. The pace is already very fast. I am afraid that the brothers will feel uncomfortable, so I will explain it specially. Chapter 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, it's still impossible to sleep in the Tianxiang palace. I guess I have to wait until I get married, right? But looking at this situation, it's probably impossible even after marriage. Let's develop the relationship slowly first. At least it's not awkward now, and holding hands is tacitly allowed, right? After returning to the palace, Chu Ning was in a good mood. He was actually thinking of a solution, but if the man and the woman don't have any thoughts, then it's probably nothing. Now it seems that his wife still loves him. Go back to sleep. In the past few days in the palace, I didn't sleep completely. I traveled in the sky, saw the prosperity of the world, and also took a look at the palace. Now I'm really sleepy, so happy. The next morning, before Chu Ning had time to cook, Xiao Bing had already arrived. Mr. Chu, His Majesty asked you to go to court today. This is the clothes that have been customized before. His Majesty asked you to change into. Chu Ning, who had just woken up, was confused. You are not kidding, are you really going to court? Xiao Bing smiled and said, Of course, all the officials in the court are discussing it now. They were originally nominating people to see the emperor, but they didn't expect that His Majesty would directly appoint them, and your treatment is equivalent to the second emperor. Xiao Bing didn't believe that Chu Ning had any thoughts about the dynasty. After all, after observing for the past few days, Chu Ning was really a jerk. Except for going to His Majesty every day to get close to him, the rest of the time he either slept or slept. He was too lazy to leave the palace. At this moment, the girl looked at Chu Ning curiously. What did His Majesty say to you yesterday? It seems that your relationship has improved. Chu Ning stood up with a serious face. Don't ask what a child shouldn't ask. Xiao Bing has been practicing Taoism for more than 30 years. She should be older than you, right? Chu Ning was silent for a moment, and had nothing to say. Then, a dragon robe was stuffed in his hand. There was a precedent of a female emperor before the great Zhou dynasty. The emperor was as honored as the emperor, and the clothes were also customized according to the dragon robe. Chu Ning looked at the clothes in his hand and put them down. I'll tell His Majesty that I'd better forget about going to court. I don't have the mind or ability to do so. Soon, breakfast was ready and they came to the Tianxiang palace. When Qinglian saw Chu Ning, she frowned. Where is your dragon robe? Are you going to court? Chu Ning said helplessly, You can just talk about it. I don't really think I can go to court. Not to mention the rules of the dynasty, this practice is not in accordance with the etiquette. The key is that I am not interested in this thing. Don't test me. Qinglian looked unhappy. I told you yesterday in vain. Didn't you understand? Either follow me to court, or take this meal away and sleep in the imperial mausoleum tomorrow. Xiao Bing on the side looked at the two curiously. So what happened between them? Why did His Majesty value power so much that he gave Chu Ning such a high status and ordered Chu Ning to attend the court? This is equivalent to dividing the power directly. What is His Majesty thinking? Oh, I remember, the awkward relationship between the two seemed to be because Chu Ning took out those methods and was feared by His Majesty, right? So His Majesty's move was intended to reconcile the relationship between the two. Xiao Bing is so smart, and she is very good at observing words and expressions, and she understood it at a glance. Seeing that Chu Ning was still trying to refuse, Xiao Bing also hurriedly spoke, Mr. Chu, I think it's better for you to go to court with His Majesty. Now that the news has been leaked, even if Mr. Chu has no intention, His Majesty's words cannot be left unfulfilled, otherwise the court will inevitably discuss it. Mr. Chu can of course do nothing, just show up in front of the world. After all, the emperor suddenly appointed him, and even the procedures and rules were directly broken, and the court will definitely be turbulent. Qinglian also looked at Chu Ning coldly. After dinner, go and change into that dragon robe. I'll wait for you. Don't let me be disappointed in you. Chu Ning had nothing to say and could only sigh. Then let's eat first. I really didn't want to do it, and I didn't expect Qinglian to really let him do it. This is like using all his means, right? The mother of the child is indeed a man of unparalleled character. But won't it bring you trouble? For example, the officials of the court will say that you have violated the etiquette. Qinglian said lightly, don't worry about this matter, eat. Now, in order to make the relationship with Chu Ning less awkward, Qinglian has already done this, directly establish the emperor, share the world with the emperor, and rule together. She believes that Chu Ning is not like that. If you are a person, you must show your trust. This is the greatest sincerity Qinglian can show. If Chu Ning really wants to plot against the country and let her down completely, that day, Qinglian will completely break off relations with Chu Ning. She is not only the emperor of the Daqian Dynasty, she is also a cultivator who has cultivated to the 7th realm in 100 years. Qinglian was suddenly stunned. The middle stage of the 7th realm? That's not right. She hasn't cultivated during this period. Why has she cultivated herself so fast recently? By the way, Your Majesty, Xiao Bing was a little happy to see that the relationship between the two was reconciled. I have something to tell Your Majesty. Recently, I have cultivated very fast. Now I am already in the late stage of the 4th realm. Qinglian's eyes widened suddenly. The late stage of the 4th realm, isn't it that your Tianxiang tower has been condensed now, and it has only been less than half a month, since breaking through the 3rd realm, now in the late stage of the 4th realm? I'm afraid that those holy places don't have such a cultivation speed. Qinglian immediately thought of the reason. It must be the blessing of the ancestor. When you have nothing to do today, go to the Yi family Holy Land and see if there are people in the Holy Land who have made rapid progress in cultivation like you. We must cultivate them vigorously. Okay, Your Majesty. Chu Ning, who was standing aside, ate silently. It seems that this imperial dish is still very effective in improving the speed of cultivation. It is good for the wife and the children. I have to get some better ingredients in the future. I just don't know what will happen today. He thinks that the court officials will not accept his identity so easily. I am afraid it will be difficult. Half an hour later, in the court. Hundreds of officials, 6 cabinets and many soldiers. Even the Yi family Holy Land sent people to come. When they saw the man in dragon robes sitting next to the female emperor Qinglian in the court, countless people were stunned. Yi Xian, the current elder of the Yi family, was also stunned. No wonder he was a distinguished guest, but he didn't expect it to be the emperor. But even if he is an emperor, such an unceremonious practice can be justified, but you let an emperor control the 6 departments of the cabinet and control the world's troops. Today's court meeting is about this matter. Just as an official opened his mouth and was about to attack Chu Ning, Qinglian slowly stood up, her eyes were extremely cold, and the pressure unique to the level of breaking the void instantly enveloped the whole audience. The emperor was personally conferred by me, and the privileges given to the emperor are all my opinions. Whoever dares to object will be killed on the spot as if he is rebelling against the emperor and the country. You all can see the emperor. Chu Ning was stunned. No, is this the solution you thought of? Too direct. The cultivation of the cultivator is really useful, right? In the court, countless officials looked at each other, although it is not in accordance with etiquette, although his status was established too quickly, although he has more power than anyone else and can share the world with the Empress, but your Majesty is highly cultivated, and your Majesty's words are the will of heaven. Your subjects, kowtow to the Emperor. The Ministry of Rites will immediately prepare a grand ceremony, which will be held soon. Kowtow to the Emperor. Chapter 27. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The officials of the court can still see the general situation clearly. Chu Ning was a little confused by everything in front of him. No wonder the political system he gave to Qinglian before could be implemented within a few days and then began to operate quickly. If it was not the Immortal Dynasty, but just an ordinary mortal dynasty, there would be a lot to face, including the opposition of the official group, the opposition of the scholar official class, the resistance of the noble class, and even many resistances from people of his own clan. But now, Qinglian only needs to sit here and say a word. This is the emperor, whoever disobeys will be killed directly. Her words are the will of heaven, whoever disobeys will come and touch it. Status and strength bring Qinglian extreme strength, so strong that Chu Ning, who is standing aside, feels a little happy. My wife is so powerful, my wife is so great. When a person has extreme authority and strength, it seems that the sense of conquest in the eyes of the world has no effect. It is true to be ordinary, raise children with peace of mind, and accompany your wife with peace of mind. He seemed to prefer Qinglian, who was so domineering. It was refreshing, and he felt very conquered. Chu Ning also roughly understood Qinglian's character at this moment. She had been an emperor for too long, and her character was like this. Even if she really noticed that something was wrong, she would never admit her mistakes. She would not solve the problem, but get rid of the person who caused the problem. So, Chu Ning sat here, which was the solution given by Qinglian. It seems that this is the only way. Don't say it, it's quite interesting. Although all the officials in the court didn't know the new emperor in front of them, His Majesty had already spoken. Then you are the emperor, and we have nothing to say. Those who His Majesty recognized are those they recognized. As for the authority given to Chu Ning, just think of it as this kid picking up a big bargain, and don't make the harem interfere in politics and disrupt the court. But this matter doesn't seem to be something they need to worry about, with His Majesty here, who can seize her power. Xiao Zun seemed to have guessed something at this moment. Why was this person able to secure the position of the emperor so quickly that His Majesty even went so far as to put him up directly beyond the etiquette? And they share the world, have the power of regent, can command the cabinet and the 6 ministries, and can even control the world's troops. As expected, the new political system came from this person. She said why His Majesty, who has always been a monopoly on power, suddenly came up with such a complete political system, even to the extent that it was not disclosed internally, and the method of implementing this political system. Some officials behind him were dissatisfied, but they dared not say it clearly. But Xiao Zun, as the Prime Minister, quickly saw the details. This person is not simple, not just a slightly good-looking vase, he must have a very deep connection with His Majesty. As expected, it is talent. At this moment, Xiao Zun stepped forward. Since the emperor has been chosen by His Majesty, then we can skip the complicated steps and prepare for the ceremony according to what the Minister of Rites said. Your Majesty agrees. That everyone looked at the old man. Prime Minister. You don't say a word. You have a lot of experience. His Majesty will definitely not want to kill you. You can at least give him some advice. Do you really not want to say anything about the power of the regent to command the army? What can Xiao Zun say? Say nothing. His Majesty is here. Whatever His Majesty says, we will do. They are just ministers, serving the world and the royal family. Qinglian nodded slightly. Just handle the ceremony directly. Then should the other 4 dynasties send invitations? It should be done according to the etiquette. The rest of the affairs can be handled according to the court etiquette. Xiao Zun bowed and had no more objections. The rest of the affairs were not busy, everyone left the court. Qinglian could suppress the court and the world with thundering means, but he certainly could not stop the turmoil that followed. When this matter was reported, the court and the country were all shocked. How did it happen so quickly? My little nephew is ready to participate in the election of the emperor. He must be better looking than the new emperor. As for yours, forget it. He has no looks and no talent. Can your uncle, who is a 7th-rank official in the court, really get in? The court is much better than your family. And don't you realize? This new political system is definitely not something that can be thought of overnight. The emperor takes the throne and directly acts as regent. Everyone thought about it when they heard it, and then they all widened their eyes. You mean? It's unspeakable. This is an imperial decree issued by His Majesty. There is no question of who came up with it. Short, this method is indeed beneficial to the court, although it is a bit oppressive to us officials. No wonder. In the Yi family Holy Land, everyone was stunned when Yi Xian brought back the news. What the hell? You said that the person that Yi Gongguan brought to test the qualification some time ago was the emperor, are you kidding? He has no cultivation, and he has no family. He is not from a big family, and he has nothing except handsomeness. But your majesty is the king of the Daqian Dynasty. Even if the emperor has nothing, what can he have? If your majesty wants, the new emperor will probably be able to build a huge family in a short time, with power, wealth, and even cultivators and cultivation resources, and will not lack a bit. Beast! I was still thinking about getting your majesty's favor. Don't you know that your majesty would look at me more every time he came to the Holy Land before, and now this pretty boy has gotten there first. Is it possible that his majesty just thinks you look a little strange? My lord, what do you mean? The whole country was shocked, and the other 4 dynasties who learned of this news also had different attitudes. Who is Chu Ning? Why can he be favored by Qinglian instead of others? At the same time, in Mingda Hall, after the court was dismissed, Qinglian brought Chu Ning here. Are you satisfied now? I have given you everything I can give you. If you do that again in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless with my sword. Chu Ning didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He couldn't help shaking his head at the woman in the golden dragon robe in front of him. You don't have to do this. There is no contradiction between you and me. Qinglian glanced at Chu Ning coldly, with contempt in her eyes. No contradiction. Then what does it mean that you slept in your residence for 3 consecutive days? Don't you think I have treated you unfairly? Now I have given you everything I can give you. Don't be so ungrateful. Leave and cook when it's almost lunchtime. I want to eat spicy rabbit head for lunch. Chu Ning smiled and nodded in agreement. At this moment, Qinglian pushed some government affairs left over from yesterday directly in front of Chu Ning. The latter was stunned. Qinglian, you. Qinglian said lightly, since I have agreed to share the world and the court with you, you should take some of the memorials to read. If you don't understand, just leave them. Chu Ning was stunned when he heard this. This is too trusting of him. Although this feeling is quite good, how can it be so fast? Then is it okay to hug secretly? Suddenly, Qinglian turned around. I am not kidding you. If you have talent, show it. Don't hide it. I won't say anything. If your ability to govern is good, wait a few months and you will be in charge of government affairs. I can rest assured to take care of my health. Do you understand? After hearing this, Chu Ning no longer hesitated. Okay. My wife must rest assured and take care of the baby. Otherwise, what if she gets tired? A mere memorial. In his mind, countless experiences of the emperor's life were integrated into his mind. Chu Ning sat down with a smile, picked up a book at random, and flipped through it in a serious manner. After a moment, he picked up the brush. Qinglian, who who was watching this scene, murmured in his heart. Whether you are lying to me or not, and want to get to this position, I believe you. After the death of the late emperor, I have no one I can completely trust. Since he is her emperor, let him do what he wants, as long as she is not really disappointed, everything is fine. I hope Chu Ning deserves her trust. It doesn't matter whether the memorial is handled well or not, as long as he focuses on her and the child. Just the next moment, Chu Ning finished writing a book, put it aside directly. Qinglian frowned slightly. Chu Ning, even these memorials should not be handled so lightly. How long has it been, and you've already finished writing one? You don't take my trust seriously. Even if you can't, at least pretend to be a bit more convincing. Qinglian walked over with an unhappy look on her face, opened the memorial, and was about to use it to correct Chu Ning's behavior, but she was stunned the next moment. This. Chapter 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qinglian's eyes were fixed on the countermeasures given by Chu Ning in the memorial. In the 23rd year of Kaiyuan, the 6 areas of Daqian suffered from floods, countless houses were destroyed, people were displaced, and grain prices skyrocketed several times. The local monks, because of their poor supervision, did not prevent such disasters from happening, and were all executed. More than 120 monks were beheaded. The weather is determined by heaven. The local monks are responsible for influencing these days and ensuring that the local people have a stable harvest regardless of drought or flood. Once such a disaster occurs, it is a great crime and they will be executed directly without asking the reason. However, nearly 1 million people in the Jiangnan area were affected by the disaster. All under heaven are the king's subjects, and all the people are the king's subjects. Qinglian saw this memorial yesterday, but she didn't think of a suitable response for a while. Local merchants raised the price of grain, causing the price of grain to rise dozens of times in a short period of time. How can the people in the Jiangnan area, whose families have been destroyed, afford it? Helplessly, the local government could only release grain for disaster relief. However, with millions of people, the daily consumption of grain was over 1 million caddies. In less than half a month, the grain price in the Jiangnan government warehouse suddenly soared countless times. It was difficult to allocate too much grain from various places. Jiangnan was a grain-producing area, and even other grain-efficient areas would be affected by the disaster. The countermeasure given by Qinglian was to summon the monks from all over the world to select a suitable location to accelerate grain cultivation. It was estimated that more than 100 million caddies of grain would be needed to quell this turmoil and hold on until the next round of grain production. Even immortals would find it difficult to do so. Qinglian was even ready to go down in person. However, Chu Ning only wrote a few paragraphs in the memorial. The government did not reveal the grain in the warehouse, did not release the grain in the warehouse for disaster relief, and let the grain price continue to soar, induce local grain storage merchants to continue to raise prices. The method was applied for half a month, and when the other local grain households came to sell grain, when the right time came, the waterway was blocked and they were not allowed to go. In this way, the grain price could be stabilized, and the inventory of other prefectures could be transferred for relief. Qinglian frowned as he looked at this text. If the warehouses were not allowed to open to release grain, what would happen if all the local people starved to death? If the grain price continued to rise, it would cause the grain price of the entire dynasty to rise, causing greater fluctuations. What was the purpose of the subsequent countermeasures? But Qinglian was about to speak, but suddenly stopped. Having been an emperor for 100 years, he saw through the subtlety of this method at a glance. The skyrocketing grain prices in Jiangnan would inevitably attract grain merchants from other places to come, which was the desire of merchants to pursue profits. The local gentry would inevitably accept all of it, maintain high grain prices, and wait until the right time to sell them all, which was the desire of local gentry to pursue profits. No more opening of warehouses to release grain, so that local gentry do not know how much local grain storage there is, and the high grain price will remain high, continuing to attract merchants from other places to make profits. When the grain price reaches a certain level, which is dozens or even hundreds of times higher than the normal grain price, there will be a trend of selling grain in Jiangnan. But the local gentry definitely do not have enough money to buy it. How many families can buy all the grain in the world? The last iron-locked Tianxiang is the last stroke. when local grain cannot be sold and local gentry cannot buy it, they will sell it at a low price to make a profit, and other foreign merchants will also sell it at a lower price. In this way, local gentry will definitely not be able to do it, and there will be no more money to buy grain. When the grain price drops, the government will release grain again, making the sky-high grain directly worthless and start selling it. This method can ease the grain price and solve this biggest problem. It took a long time for Qinglian to come back to his senses, playing with many forces thousands of miles away. This method of plotting to break people's hearts can be called a masterpiece. But why do you think that there will be so much grain in other places that the gentry in Jiangnan can no longer afford to buy it? What if their money has reached a terrifying number? Chu Ning came back to his senses and put down 2 more memorials. Qinglian's eyebrows jumped. So fast, are you kidding? The Daqian Dynasty has a vast territory and rich land. Jiangnan is not the only grain-producing land. Merchants and landlords in other places must have grain left. This is the consensus of the grassroots people. They will feel safe only if they have surplus grain at home. Landlords and merchants think so even more. Qinglian thought for a moment after hearing this. I can send people from the Yi family's holy land and monks from all over the court to cultivate some more grain and plan to use it for disaster relief. Instead of disaster relief, it would be better to use it to suppress local grain prices. Qinglian frowned, but if there is no disaster relief, how can the deaths and injuries of local people be counted? They are all my people. Chu Ning smiled. Which is more important, the death of hundreds of thousands of people or the death of tens of thousands of people? You can't be unaware of it, right? There will be death in every dynasty, people, there will be more deaths in the year of the disaster. If you have other ways to perfectly solve the problem of death, then this memorial will not appear on your desk for you to come up with a solution. Qinglian was silent for a moment, speechless, just because Chu Ning said the truth. Even in the Immortal Dynasty, there are only a small number of people who can practice. There are billions of people in the Daqian Dynasty, but only tens of thousands of monks in the official genealogy, and most of them are not at a high level. Facing such a big trouble, what they can do is extremely limited, and Chu Ning's method is the best Qinglian has seen. If it is implemented together with her method, the effect will be better. In this case, follow this arrangement. She put the pen aside and read to show her approval. Now, it is indeed the only feasible way, even if it is a cultivator, using those natural treasures. It is very impressive to produce tens of millions of grains in half a month. That still requires a large investment of national strength, and compared with 100 million kilograms of grain, it is still far behind. Qinglian thinks this method is feasible, and it depends on the subsequent process, and Chu Ning set his eyes on the memorials in front of him. At this moment, his eyes, there was a hint of pride in his eyes. So happy, so happy. It was much easier to handle this memorial. He seemed to have become the master of all the emperors in Chinese history. Cricket memorials, what a fart. He wanted to usurp the throne, kill the traitors and unify the world, and then start planning the cause of expanding the territory. No, he was just handling a memorial. He couldn't think too much about it, but an emperor yearned for great unification, the kind that unified the entire continent. Affected by this kind of vision, forget it, hurry up and finish the memorials. Otherwise I will have to shout out the 8 characters received the mandate from heaven. Long live and prosper. Qinglian, who was standing aside, continued to pick up other memorials. This one is about frontier military affairs. This one is about the cultivators in the court. This one, the key is that every opinion sorted out is extremely complicated, and Qinglian can't even find any faults. You bastard. You just want to usurp the throne and plot against the country, and I found out. But I put you in this position now, you do your best for me. The world belongs to me and to you too. After all, you are the emperor. Although she was a little unconvinced, how could an ordinary person, who was not as old as she was, not as skilled as she was, and had never been an emperor, control people's hearts and understand military and political affairs better than her? This guy, a natural emperor. Qinglian snorted coldly. She directly piled all the remaining memorials in front of Chu Ning, plus the 50 sent by the cabinet later. If you can finish it before noon, I won't have any government affairs to deal with today. Chu Ning was slightly stunned when he heard this. The powerful spiritual sense instantly covered all the memorials. The cultivation of the Immortal Emperor is used for this. Don't even mention noon. If I can't finish it in half an hour, I will be sorry for this cultivation. Then, Chu Ning opened the memorial and started writing. He did it as soon as he disagreed. Qinglian was almost confused. No, you have read the memorial or not, just write it. Even if you plan to do something while I don't have any government affairs to deal with in the afternoon, there is no need to do this. Isn't this nonsense? But every memorial he received was more detailed than hers, and the means of dealing with the problem were more sophisticated than hers. In less than half an hour, Chu Ning put down his pen and stood up, and immediately looked at Qinglian, who was dumbfounded. Read it again, there should be nothing to do after you finish reading it. Why don't we go around the palace? It seems that we haven't walked and chatted alone together. Less than 100 memorials, I have to adjust my mood quickly, otherwise I will really shout out those treasonous words. I'll go out for some fresh air first. Qinglian, who looked stunned, looked at Chu Ning's back and quickly flipped through the memorials. Each one can be directly implemented. This guy seems to be more exaggerated than she thought. Xiao Bing, send these to the cabinet and let the cabinet give opinions. The girl walked in quickly and couldn't help but exclaimed. Your Majesty processed the memorials so quickly today. Qinglian paused and nodded slightly. Send it first. When Xiao Bing left, Qinglian looked at the back of the person pacing outside the Mingda Hall and felt that she had made a mess. This man seems more suitable to be the emperor than her. Chapter 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Chu Ning outside the courtyard was breathing fresh air. I am appointed by heaven, and I will live forever. Kill the Empress, and I will be the emperor. All the mountains and rivers are mine. After unifying the country, destroy the 4 countries, and the world will be mine. The ancient and modern emperors given by this system are a bit not simple, it makes him want to unify. But Chu Ning still restrained himself. What's the problem with unification? Unify the 10 great Daos of the 3,000 Dao continents in the upper realm. To be honest, it's just a matter of Chu Ning's words. I am the Immortal Emperor, now you all have to call me Emperor, otherwise I will kill you. Okay, the matter is done. Even if the 10 emperors come together, they are not enough to fight. It's better to have a wife and children. And Qinglian just looked at the figure sitting on the steps in the Mingda Hall. This dogman is quite not simple. Now I have discovered your ability. But no matter how extraordinary you are still the father of my child and my emperor. If you want to usurp the throne, just try it. After a long time, Xiao Bing came back to report. Your Majesty, several cabinet elders and university scholars think this method is appropriate, but they think this memorial is inappropriate. Qinglian seemed to have guessed it. Is it the memorial about the grain price in Jiangnan? Yes, Your Majesty. Send the message to the cabinet. This method is the result of my careful consideration, just implement it directly. Xiao Bing nodded and left again. It was only morning, and there was still an hour and a half before noon. The memorials were processed. Nothing to do. Qinglian was even more uncomfortable. Since the establishment of the cabinet, the intensity of work has decreased. Now there is a regent, Chu Ning, who helps to deal with the memorials. He handles them better than her, and the speed is fast and reliable. There is no work pressure at all. I really can't adapt. How should I spend this day? At this moment, Chu Ning stood up and shook off the dust on his body. Qinglian hurriedly retracted his gaze, picked up a book at random, and pretended to read a book. Chu Ning seemed to notice it, but just smiled. Your Majesty, what did the cabinet say? A memorial was rejected, and the handling was average. Qinglian spoke lightly, still stubborn. Chu Ning thought for a moment after hearing this. The memorial about Jiangnan is actually a talk of experience. Someone has practiced it before. It will be easier to do in the Daqian Dynasty where there are immortals to win. Your Majesty does not need to worry, but this method will take some time to prove. Qinglian raised his head and looked at Chu Ning expressionlessly. Oh. Has anyone ever practiced it? Is it the Jiajing of the Ming dynasty? Chu Ning was helpless. It's really not fictional, but it's not easy to explain it to you clearly. Do you still want to hide yourself now? Don't you feel dissatisfied because I didn't give you the authority and treatment you deserve? Chu Ning walked over with a smile and put his hands on Qinglian's shoulders. The latter's body was shocked, but he felt relieved when he realized that Chu Ning was pinching your shoulders. Qinglian was still too sensitive to this kind of physical contact. I am satisfied with you and the child. I don't have such a big desire. Qinglian snorted and stopped talking about this topic, but shifted the focus to the memorial just now. I sent Xiaobing to investigate you last night. Well, what did you find out? You are not from the Daqian Dynasty. Where did you come from? I think you fell from the sky. Qinglian sneered. Are you a hermit? I'm surprised that you, who have never been an emperor, are so good at these things. Do you want me to hand over all the government affairs to you in the future? Chu Ning pondered for a while, and Qinglian clenched his fists after noticing. You are really thinking about it. Before Chu Ning spoke, Qinglian added 2 more words. If you handle it well, the ministers in the court can be controlled by you. You won't say that if you do better, you will give me the position of emperor, right? Chu Ning sighed helplessly. You gave me the memorials, and you said that there would be no government affairs after handling the memorials. When I'm done with my work, you are going to say this again. It's really no joke to say that serving the emperor is like serving a tiger. Qinglian laughed. Do you feel pressured to be with me now? I just think it's useless to think about these things. Your cultivation is so high. Even if I want to usurp the throne, what can I do? In addition, with the Yi family Holy Land, who can take your position? Not even me. Chu Ning smiled and came from behind Qinglian. So, if you want to relax, you can leave these things to me. You are now the pregnancy is almost 4 months, and taking care of the baby is the most important thing. What's the point of being tense all day? You may not believe that I want to usurp the throne, but you can't not believe that I care about you. Qinglian felt better after hearing this, and then said calmly, when I give birth to a dragon son, will I call you His Majesty at that time? Chu Ning narrowed his eyes and moved closer. There can only be one emperor in this dynasty, and that is you. Qinglian put one hand directly on Chu Ning's face and pushed him away. There were some waves in her heart, but she was calm on the surface. When did this bastard get so close? Change the subject, let her focus on the imperial power, and then take the opportunity to do something. What else can you do when you get so close? Chu Ning sighed helplessly. You don't give me any chance at all. Qinglian narrowed her eyes and smiled, but didn't say anything about it. Give me a chance. Just because you handle these government affairs, I have to give you a chance. But Chu Ning's words dispelled her doubts. Then after a few days of implementation, if Chu Ning can really accept her work completely, then she can indeed relax. In the future, Chu Ning can finish these things, and she will review them and give opinions. Not only will she have time to practice, but she will also have more time to take care of the fetus. As Chu Ning said, she cares more about the child in her belly than anything else. But it seems that there is someone who cares more than her. Some different emotions touched her heart, and Qinglian looked at Chu Ning again. Maybe he really didn't have the idea of usurping the throne, but was just thinking about her. Because of the accident at the beginning, he was responsible for it. At least at this moment, there was someone who could talk to her without any taboos, and she was in a very good mood. I don't have any government affairs today. The cabinet should send some memorials later. Chu Ning smiled and said, I will handle it. You check and fill in the gaps. That's just what she wanted. Since you are now the emperor I have recognized to the world, come with me to the ancestral temple today. Chu Ning nodded. Is this another way to meet elders? Qinglian didn't care about this. After all, her parents and ancestors had passed away for too many years. I guess so. She nodded slightly, then stood up. Her arm fell on Chu Ning's shoulder, and the other hand tore through the void. Follow me.